GSL Season 3.
Yeah. You never take me alive. The king is alive. I will arrive. You never take me alive. Nah, I will arrive. I will arrive.
Africa TV, Freak Up Studio, live. 2022 GSL Season 3.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another day here of the GSL Code S. I'm Tasteless. Joined with me is State. How you doing, buddy?
Doing fantastic, man. Getting ready for the final group of the round of 20. We've got a really good lineup today. I'm feeling excited. How about you?
I'm pumped, man. I know we had a week off, guys. We missed you. But today we close out the round of 20. And from there we go right into the round of 10. And things really pick up from here on out. We're going to be getting to the finals very soon.
Yeah, and the lineup today is really exciting. We got Zergs, Terrence, and Protosses. Dark is going to be playing Solar, Cure, Prince. Prince, we haven't seen a lot of him in GSL Code S. Hopefully he'll make a splash. It's going to be an interesting day in terms of matchups.
Yeah, you know, some of the players that we've had in GSL, if you've been watching for a long time, obviously you're very familiar with people like Dark. But Prince is one of the newest players here for StarCraft 2 in Korea. So whenever I look at players like this, you know, it's very different, right? This is a guy who has not had anywhere near as much experience in the studio. And so we're going to see if that works for him or against him. He hasn't performed that well so far in the past.
Yeah, and this guy has been training for a very long time. I mean, I practiced with this guy back on Prime like 5 or 6 years ago. And so it's been a long grind for him to finally get to the GSL Code S and try and, you know, show what he's worth.
Absolutely.
And it's always exciting when you have new players like that come up because, like, this guy, as I said, he's been plugging away for years now and hoping to make a name for himself. We'll see if he's able to do that today.
Yeah, I got my fingers crossed for him. But to be honest with you, man, like the other people in this group are pretty scary.
It's a tough one.
You guys can see the results here on screen of the GSL so far here. And there's been some bummers for sure if you're a foreign viewer here. We saw both Estrella and Rainer, of all people, by the way, drop out, which that's too bad, man. I was hoping that this would be kind of like that with this third season we might have, especially someone like Rainer get deep. I actually got to hang out with him a little bit after the games are done, and he says he wants to come back and try again. But it's going to be an all-Korean lineup for this season once more. And you know, looking at our group here today, I would say Dark is the shoe-in to escape into the round of 10. But for the other three, I can't quite call it. Do you have somebody you see maybe getting out for that second spot, State?
I think Prince is going to have a really hard time, and I was kind of diving into Solar versus Cure because I feel like either of them are probably going to be the player to come out in first or in second if it's not Dark. And their records are miraculously close to each other. These guys have actually played, I think, close to 400 times in tournament games.
Oh, my God.
I mean, these are historic players, historic Terrans and Zergs in StarCraft 2 that grind online tournaments as well as offline tournaments. And they're almost 50-50. And over a sample size of like close to 400 games, that's insane.
That really shows that they are like such an even match. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who comes out here. I will say, I feel like Solar, with his play style in GSL, he's been pretty consistent. Whereas Cure, I feel like sometimes Cure is very off on certain days, or at least the play doesn't make sense to me when I'm seeing her to Artosis, and then he oftentimes you know, falls out. So that may just be dependent on where he's at exactly in that given month, right? I mean, you know, when you have this many people competing at once, sometimes if you're really not on top of it for a couple weeks leading up to GSL, you're just not up to date with the meta. Going into our first match, though, it's going to be Dark versus Prince. And look, I hope this is close, okay? I want to sell you guys on this. I really do, but I'm worried that this might be very one-sided here. Dark is an absolute killer. This guy is so scary. And I think it might be a 2-0, but fingers crossed that it's not.
Especially in ZVP. This is a tough matchup to go against one of the best Zerg players in the entire world. Dark, his preparation is phenomenal. His mechanics are phenomenal. This is a guy that can kill you in a macro game, can kill you with some quirky like Roach Ravager or Baneling timings. I mean, he's really a Zerg player that can do anything. And Prince, as you see right there, not too many results. This is a guy that
No.
has been working so hard behind the scenes to finally make his splash in the GSL Code S. And as we said, it's going to be a very tough group today. And starting off against Dark of all people is just such a gauntlet.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, I think, you know, as we go into game one, we're going to see exactly where he's at. But you know, we should point out, man, like, if you were not one of the players that was like top 30 trying to compete in GSL, you just weren't in the tournament, right? So it's like you were there watching, you were training against these players that were here, but you weren't actually in the environment. And you know, this works one of two ways for players that are new. Either they're able to harness that adrenaline, they're able to take it and deliver and use that because Dark's going to be as comfortable here as he is at home, or it can work against you, right? That anxiety can kick in. So we're going to go into game one and find out on the map, Cosmic Sapphire. Let's go.
Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Dark.
It's like we're doing this intro, right? By the way, there's a probe out on the map already.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah. I think that's why actually the player intro was a second or two late. I think they thought about canceling it.
Team GP, Prince.
So we're going to be, right after this shot here, we're going to zoom in on Dark's natural because there is a probe ready to block that hatch.
And Prince with a very fast scout there does not want Dark to get his natural expansion up. Yeah,
the drone bounces by that. And, you know, obviously the Zerg always wants to take the base that's right outside of his main there. I don't know if Prince is going to do this just because he wants to make the Zerg a little bit uncomfortable. You know, the creep doesn't connect together as quickly. There are opportunities to maybe come in and attack. From Austin, welcome.
Austin, Texas.
So good to have you guys down here in the studio.
Austin's a great city.
Yeah, excellent.
Seattle, man.
Also good city.
So many good cities in America.
With a sign with a bad city, we're going to find out. We're like, oh, Wichita, Kansas, not a fan, but thank you for coming.
Yeah, it's kind of funny the way that PvZ has evolved. Now, like, late into Legacy of the Void with so many Protoss players just opting to go a couple seconds early on that probe scout to block the natural. But it's almost like the third base for the Zerg has just become, like, the standard go-to. Like, you'll see these Zerg players, like, if you watch their first-person view, like, they won't even, like, try to take the one in the natural. They're just like, yeah, there's going to be a probe there. I'm not going to take that in this game or any other game. But we'll see if Prince tries to, you know, leverage that into some kind of timing push or something. But Dark's going to be as comfortable as ever in this situation. And Prince, in the meantime, just gearing up himself. Cybernetics core about 70% done, so we'll see what tech tree he decides to go for following this.
Yeah, and then we got to see what, you know, is going to be the route that Prince is going to take. We've seen, excuse me, we've seen a pretty big range of approaches to this matchup, from very, very aggressive and or tricky to extremely passive. You take a third gate, you make a bunch of stargates. I do feel like that slow play is not as effective anymore. It seems like they really tried it a lot last year.
Slow plays and like Stargate.
Yeah, third base, not really engaging with them. It seemed like a lot of the Protosses tried to copy what a lot of the Terrans were doing, because there is this thing in the Terran meta where Terrans were having such a hard time killing Zergs, they just stopped trying to kill the Zerg and just kept expanding, and it kind of turned the matchup on its head where, you know, now the Zerg is going to run out of money first, so they need to go in there and kill it. And I think Protoss has tried that, and it just didn't work out. It seemed like Zergs were able to both parry all the attacks from, especially a slow-moving turtle Protoss army, and then continue to outgrow them.
Personally, I'm more of a favor of the kind of active playstyle that we've seen, and
Me too.
we've harped on this, I feel like, every single day so far in the round of 20, how much we love Heroes PvZ. But yeah, the Oracle plus Blinkstalker play has been so much fun to watch, and it gets so much value as Adept's doing the funniest little dance over there in the minerals.
It was like a bear scratching its back on a tree. Like, I don't know what that was. Like,
yeah, it's pretty apt.
Yeah.
Adept going to get a scout here on the third base timing here for Dark at the natural expansion. We'll get cleaned up.
So it is going to be a third. This doesn't necessarily mean turtley play here.
No.
But it, obviously, with the third base coming down here, it's not going to be any kind of cheesy two-base timing attack here. With the Forge coming down, though, certainly it's going to be a little bit before we see any real kind of action. But so far, Prince hasn't really revealed his big plans here.
No, and going for a Forge now, a Twilight Council, adding a third gas, and cutting Stargate units, and I believe 2 Oracles is kind of looking more similar to what we've seen from Hero in terms of compositions. Now, he could still go for Charge Lot Archon or something else like that and aim for a 3-base timing. We'll have to see exactly what flavor he goes for on this, but yeah, just going to be gearing up with a Gateway Army at some point. As Dark doing a little bit of pressure. Might actually be able to get in here, but doesn't want to sacrifice the Lings to do it.
So I want to point out, it kind of interesting here from Prince. He didn't instantly turn the Oracles on to attack the Lings. He basically waited to see, like, okay, are you actually going to commit? Because I'm not going to waste my energy if you're not.
It's important to keep those Oracles at high energy.
Yeah, it's one of these subtle things. Like, honestly, if I was playing, it wouldn't even occur to me to not just turn that on and kill the Lings, but...
Tasteless, we've got a Nidus network.
Oh,
22 more Lings on the way.
Yeah, okay, so who cares what Protoss is doing, other than that 5 gateways are close to finishing, but not before this this Nidus Worm's going to come out here. Kind of funny that Dark going to open up with a super aggro play. All the gates are where? They're
mostly in the main base.
Nothing's being used for gateway-wise to wall off. I think there might be one over at the natural, but that's it. So he's going to come in here, and he wants to force this warp in. That was intentional. And that's all a bait because the Nidus... Oh, I'm sorry. I thought the Nidus was going to be in the main. We had an Overlord come out there.
The Overlord came in, and I think he was trying to find if there was a spot where Prince was lacking vision, but Prince very intelligently spreading his structures around in the main base. Unaware that Nidus is popping out of his natural expansion. This is a lot of Lings, but...
Yeah.
No, there's no battery here at the natural. This is going to be tough to break. That's a lot of Queens.
Oh, and he needs to get this pylon up. He does get it up. He buys a little bit of time. But this is a lot of Queens, and it doesn't matter, by the way. The Lings are going to spill in a second. Nidus comes here into the main.
Probes are being pulled, trying to retreat into the main base, but now that position is under attack as well as more Queens popping. Transferring over, Creep Tumor's even getting ready to go down, and here's a third Nidus is going to pop in the main, and Prince needs to salvage this situation really quickly because he's at death's door. This is a very dangerous spot. Those Oracles are almost out of energy. There's only 5 or 6 Zealots on the field.
Yeah, I don't know that Prince is going to be able to hang on here. If Prince loses this fight, he'll lose the pylons, and then he'll lose the game. So many more Queens are coming out here as they just get trafficked through. Another disrespectful Nidus thrown right down here into the middle of the main here. We're going to be seeing GG in a second and be going immediately into game number 2 as Dark's Nidus play has absolutely worked here, and Prince has been crushed.
Yeah, Prince finally has +1 weapons on those Zealots, but just not enough momentum. Dark so fast with that second Nidus into the main base, just instantly popping, and after he attacked the natural expansion, that's going to be GG. Dark taking game number one in a really aggressive manner there.
Yeah, that was pretty sick. I'll tell you what, man, kind of a cool play from Dark to open this up, but that's intimidating.
It is.
When you're Prince, and Prince, by the way, came into this, he wanted to play a standard game. He basically had charge coming, he had his 5 gates, he got his most of his tech up, and then went into further development to get an army, and I mean, Dark just pulled the rug right out from under him.
Absolutely did, and yeah, you kind of kick yourself over a loss like that too as Prince. If he had a battery at the natural, for example, that might have bought him a little bit more time and a little bit of enough peace of mind to notice the Nidus going down in the main base, because all those Queens and Lings trying to go through there, it was just like the last second he was able to get the pylon wall up at the natural, right? But battery could have potentially bought some time there, and unfortunate start to this best of 3 here for Prince is Tropical Sacrifice is going to be map number 2. Let's get to it, man. Dark up 1-0.
Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Dark. Team GP. Prince.
Let's see what happens as we go into game 2 here.
This is unusual.
Okay.
There's no gateway for Prince up yet. That's a gas first opening his Protoss.
Oh, Dude, I'm actually glad you pointed that out. A lot of times I don't watch the builder tab that quickly because there's not much to say. So he went gas and then gate.
Gas and then gate on the low ground.
Okay, do you know what this is?
I have no clue at all.
All right.
I do not often see gas first in PvZ.
Oh, excellent drawing.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Carbot style.
Oh, I love the lighting on the mask for the Marine. That was sick.
From
so
USA.
many foreign fans out here,
We
man.
have great cities. Now we've got great countries on the signs.
Huh, yeah, the gas first for Prince. I'm not sure exactly what this is going to be. He will be going for the Nexus, but...
Okay, so let's think here. If he's going to go gas first, which we never see, what would you bank the gas for? I guess a bunch of sentries doesn't really do anything, right?
Right.
Would it be for some kind of an upgrade that's very soon?
I'm not sure, because at the same time, like, if you go for a Stargate and Oracles, that's really gas intensive, but you can support that going Gateway first, so... Honestly, I'm in the dark about what to do here as Prince. I'm not sure exactly what the benefit of this build is. I guess we're just going to have to see the way that it plays out.
Maybe if you get, well, I guess getting 2 Stargates right away isn't good. Well, I don't know, because he's at 200 gas right now. And again, guys, we have not casted this build before.
No.
To the best of my knowledge, I haven't seen this. It's a
Twilight Council and
Twilight
Stalker.
Council. Almost called it a Citadel, sorry. I did a recording for ASL last night. And so, could it be for extra Dark Templars?
Potentially.
But then again, I mean, how good is that? I mean, when you get 1 extra I don't know.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting about this for me is generally Protoss in PvZ openings, you're usually going for something that's going to be gas intensive regardless. You're going to go for Stargates and Oracles, which 150 gas for the Stargate, 150 gas for the Oracle. That's a lot of gas. You're going to be going for something like Dark Templars, which again, if you go for 4 DTs and a drop, that's 500 gas as well. That's very intensive. And this is something, it will be DT Shrine, but this is something that you don't really see that often because even with a Gateway before gas opening, Protoss kind of has the gas to do everything that they want to do. But we see now that Prince is actually going for, oh, he started a Sentry then canceled it, so,
Oh, maybe he gets the Sentry, and if he doesn't see any kind of rush or something, he ditches it, and then he can use the gas for something else.
Yeah, I don't know.
But what you were saying was 100% spot on. Like, the race Protoss, even all the way in, like, StarCraft 1, like, before Brood War even, Protoss was always, like, a hungry gas race against Zerg, because all their good stuff, you just need a lot of gas, and you need, like, lots of upgrades and lots of tech against Zerg. So... but I've never seen someone just try to eke out. By the way, he's at 250 gas now.
No Robo either, so this is going to be very fast DTs, and perhaps what he's getting out of this is he's doing this off of 2 gas geysers. So Dark right now with his Overlord at the natural expansion might be riding off DTs as a possibility.
Dude, I think you nailed it, because if you're going to go DTs normally, you have another gas at your natural. And so he might just discount this, and therefore he might not get detection. This is actually really smart. Now, the problem is that, and this is just sort of the nature of going Dark Templars, is that if they get the defense for it, suddenly you didn't really get any value at all out of this.
And Dark very wisely playing safe here against Prince. He has 2 Spore Crawlers already, I believe, at the main of the natural, and a
DT Blink
potentially another
here.
one. Oh, DT Blink. What an interesting build coming out of Prince.
What's going on? Well, now, hold on. The Spore's here, but can he block this off? All right, so he decides to be safe. You don't want to invest in Dark Templar Blink, and then your 2 Dark Templars die.
Not able to catch Dark unaware there is Prince with these DTs. And behind this, going to take a 3rd Nexus. So DT Blink, not something we usually see in this matchup at all. And frankly, I'm not sure exactly how that's going to play. I wonder if Prince has an Sentry on the map, because it could be something like Hallucinated Phoenix and like DT Blink into the main base, snipe the hatchery or the lair. Like, I'm trying to map out in my head what value you can get out of this composition, and it's tough.
You know, Blink with Dark Templar, it didn't work out the way that I think Blizzard expected it to. I think they thought that it was going to be DTs blinking away and people trying to catch him, and instead it turned into DTs blinking on top of stuff and killing it immediately. Because a Dark Templar does a ton of damage. It just doesn't attack fast. But if you have like 5 or what is this, 6, I think?
I love this play out of Prince. He has a hallucinated...
So look, he just kills the Spore.
Oh my god. He has a hallucinated Warp Prism going to the main base right now of Dark. That's why Dark pulled all of his units to the main. Then he jumps in with 6 DTs at the 3rd base, snipes the Spore Crawler, gets the hatch.
Dude,
wow, this is a sick build.
Cool.
This is a very cool build.
All right, so the Overseer is going to be here. Yeah, he's just going to blink away.
Did lose 1 DT, but we'll be able to get away.
That was so cool.
This is awesome. I love that hallucinated warp prism. I was wondering, because I saw there was a sentry. I was thinking, how is that going to play into this? Is he going to use that to get into the main base with the DTs? But no, just completely finessing Dark there with a hallucinated warp prism, which we don't see very often.
Yeah.
Distracting him with the main base and then sniping the third. And Dark now going for a Spire. Huh. Prince is going for Blink Stalkers in addition to DTs. That's a pretty good composition against Spire. I wonder, does he know that? He might not even know that the Warp Prism was hallucinated. I don't know. We didn't get a shot of it.
Yeah.
Prince might have pulled it away, and he thinks that this is a robo behind it.
Well, what's going to happen behind this, and I think he won't actually need to necessarily get a Warp Prism right away. He's going to warp a gate in over at the top left, and as Zerg reclaims this base that's at, what is it? I guess it's 9 o'clock or something like that on the minimap. Then he's going to just attack in there and try to kill him. So basically, Prince went for the knees here. He's crippled him. He's going to come in here with a killing blow in just a little bit.
Very cool build.
Yeah.
Always fun to watch
I'm
stuff
a big
like
fan.
this.
And now he's going to go for double blink, dude.
Double blink, that's right.
Yeah. There's lots of blinking, man. This is just Tourette's, dude. It's coming in.
Blink DTs
Blink
and Blink
DTs,
Stalkers.
man.
Now, there are 4 DTs that are going to go and snipe this hatchery. Actually, he's going to go into the main base. This is so cool.
Oh,
We're seeing out of Prince,
This
man.
is sick. So he could come in here. He could, target down this pool? No,
He's going for the drones. Got to be careful with these Stalkers, though. Those are +1 Lings.
Yep.
A lot of damage coming in on this army. Behind this, though, 9 probes going down in the main base of Dark.
You drones, yeah. Going
drones,
down here.
excuse me.
No, you're fine. You broke my brain for a second. I don't know that this army is being controlled well enough, but the DTs are still doing a whole lot of damage here. Actually, you know what? Suddenly there's just too many Stalkers. Dude, I think that Dark might just die here. He might just not have enough between the DTs and the Stalkers.
Hatchery going down to the 4th base. Drones getting pulled here at 9 o'clock. Prince is making magic happen right now as he goes 1-1 here with a fantastic build. That was some really gutsy play.
Dude, that was sick. His bloodline is better than ours. This is,
wow. I love that build. You know, we were just trying to rack our brains about what that gas first play could be out of Protoss, and he did it on 2 gases, DT Blink.
Yeah, 2 gases and not taking any gases that is natural. So it was a really well disguised build. Dude, I'm very impressed. I'm glad we kind of figured out what was happening because, like, sometimes I'll see a build and have no idea what it's doing, like what's going on. I'm like, man, I hope our toasters can figure this one out, man. We did it, State.
We did it.
Okay, so tied up 1-1. I don't think you can do anything. It's kind of like the Nidus play. I don't know how many times you can do that, right?
That's a one-off.
That's a one-off for sure. Data C is going to be the final map here between these two. But dude, if Prince did it once, he could certainly do it again. And I'll tell you what, man, it was Prince bringing that build. Nobody else in GSL doing that. So let's see what else he has to offer.
Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Dark. Team GP, Prince.
A lot of Prince fans in the audience here. Vocal fans, I should say.
People love an underdog.
Yeah, man. If you're rooting for Dark, man, that's like being a Yankees fan, you know? It's,
I'm a Red Sox fan, so yeah, right there with you, man.
I wonder if he might try to recycle that build from game 1.
He might. Hi, Ryan, if you're watching this. Not me, okay. I was looking to do a double take for a second there.
From Chile, welcome.
So many international fans here today. It's fantastic to see.
Thank God this country's opened back up again.
It's lovely.
So what I was thinking is maybe we will have that build recycled back in that we had in game 1. Because like, he never really got to actually show us what he was cooking up.
That's a good point.
And
right. It was very standard, too. We haven't really seen... We never got to see what kind of army he was mustering there in game number 1. And
right, yeah. And, you know, it's funny. I thought for sure Dark wouldn't do anything that cheesy today. But, you know, he already did that Nidus play, and that worked.
It's a common thing against players who are kind of trying to break onto the scene. I mean, this happened to me. My first game in Pro League, I got proxy gated. So like,
Did you freak out?
not really. In that case, I prepared like I think I actually similar to Prince. I did like a gas first opening and a PvP. And in prep, I knew like I was going for the fastest possible like proxy Stargate on Sejong Station. And the first time I did it against all my Protoss practice partners, I won the game. Because it was like just a one-off cheese, right?
Yeah.
And I did it knowing that if I get proxy gated, it's not possible to defend.
Yeah.
Like I'm going gas first, I'm just gonna lose. So I saw it, and I'm just like, well, the game's over.
Yeah, yeah. You got a bad hand dealt there. I had this is like right when StarCraft 2 came out. Artosis and Hydra and me were in China. We got invited. We got to represent the USA.
Was that WCG?
This was called Stars War.
Stars
This is
War.
it's a very Chinese event name here. Stars War.
What a cool name.
And I played my first game, and I was the worst out of the three of us by far, but I won. I beat a Korean player. It was crazy. So then I got to go up against the next guy, and I had so much adrenaline in my system. This is back when people did like proxy Marauder rushes with a bunker, and he hit it in my base, and I literally saw the Marauder, and somehow there was so much adrenaline in my system, I didn't see the bunker. Like I didn't register it. It was so weird.
It happens.
And then people were like, "Why didn't you just kill the SCV?" And I'm like, "You're not going to believe this. I literally like just didn't. I just didn't know it was there. I was like so freaked out that I was getting attacked.
Adrenaline's crazy.
It's crazy what it'll do to you.
It's one. Yeah, it loops all back into what we were saying, which is oftentimes you will see the veteran go for kind of a cheese or a high risk play because of that reason. Because like Prince is probably not very comfortable here on stage right now. You know, not to try and go too deep into his mindset, but
it really is true though. You know, and when I first moved here before StarCraft 2 was out or anything, I remember asking a coach that I had dinner with. So do you have advice for a new player versus a weak player? And they said, always attack the new player early. They always seem to fall apart. We always don't bother with a macro game. Don't let them get comfortable. By the way, this is going to be a 5-gate adept rush.
6 gates actually with a gate of the natural. This is crazy. It's high aggression. And I was paying attention to what Prince was doing there too. This is very low gas. He kind of banked the minerals for these gateways faster than usual because not only is he playing on just 2 geysers in his main base, but for the longest time, you just now saw a 3rd probe being added to the geysers. He had 2 probes on each gas, so that was almost an entirely mineral economy. Now going for a timing that's going to be a little bit later with the glaives, but with so much more power. But Dark, well prepared for this. He's only on 38 drones, so he definitely senses a timing like this coming.
I will say that Dark almost never loses to this kind of stuff.
This is a different kind of twist, though. I mean, it's going to hit a lot harder than a lot of other Protoss Adept Fall-ins might. 3 Ravagers now scouting this out.
That's actually a really good snipe on that first Adept. Every Adept is precious here in the rush. And the fact that he's already sniped 2, he's probably going to cancel the Shade. He's going to come down here. War Prism is still out on the outside. He can start another Shade, but these Lings and Ravagers can close in. He's actually going to go for an escape. And to be honest, guys, Prince has not really dealt any damage yet. I think he killed maybe 1 drone.
I don't know if he killed anything there. And he lost,
he didn't kill
1 drone.
Oh, 1, okay.
And he lost 3 Adepts. They were just getting bruised by the Ravagers for the longest time.
Yeah.
I almost would have liked to see him shade in the main and just fight the Lings because those Ravagers just did so much damage with no repercussions. But we'll see now. Prince has gotten 2 more Warpins, so this is a 42 army supply of almost pure Adept.
Well, I mean, if you look at the production tab, that kind of foreshadows the future of this game if nothing changes, because like stuff is being made infrastructure-wise for Dark, and right now you just see Adepts.
He is banking so many.
He is basically going to try to sledgehammer in again, but you know, Dark was really able to bob and weave back there. And basically not suffer that much at all.
It's a lot of Adepts, though, Tasteless. We'll see if they're able to get something done. On the flip side, that's a lot of Roaches and Ravagers. He's going to just pounce right on top of this, focusing down the Ravagers first. He wants to stop those Biles, but the Lynx around is just huge right now.
He is so getting murdered here. Dude, you know what he did? He faked him out. He made it look like the Ravagers were alone, and then as the Shade was going to finish, the Lynx ran in.
Yep.
Look, there's 1 Adept. Imagine being this Adept right now.
We'll call it back home.
Yeah.
Oh, that poor Adept.
This is all your fault, Prince. Goodbye, Earth. World, sorry. space game, not Earth.
I like what we saw out of Prince, though, kind of banking the Adepts and hoping that Dark would think, like, maybe the rush has ended. Maybe now I transition into, like, a late game. Or not late game. Like, I transition to lair and drone up a little bit. But Dark is a hard player to fool. He made maybe 2 or 3 more drones, and he just continued to power with roaches and lings. And
we're kind of seeing this game play itself out. I don't think the Prince is certainly after that big failed attack. I don't think he can come in and do anything, but
he's just going to double down. And this is the kind of map where, like, if he wins this, he goes to the winner's match. So, of course, he's going to try everything in his power to come away with a win right now. But this is like a 0.1% chance here. Honestly, even lower with Dark. With as high of a Roach Ravager count as he has right now, Prince is going to try and make something happen here with these Adepts. But Dark has just so much gone unchecked here really in the last couple of minutes, because Prince, even with this high Adept count, hasn't really been able to get any big damage done, as you see him just try to find something. But eventually these Adepts are going to get cleaned up, and that's just going to be it, I think.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to go anywhere, man. I mean, I think this is going to just sort of fizzle out. He cancels the Shade. He does do a dive here onto these Ravagers.
But there's so much more.
There's so much more here. And this is the, most of this is going to be killed before this. I think actually all of it's going to die. GG. Okay, Dark goes on, but I'll tell you what, that was a better series than I was expecting.
Certainly was. Game 1, I mean, Prince loses there to the Nidus, and that's the kind of thing that, it's your first map here in GSL Codes this season. Probably been practicing for this, have a lot of plans. It's tough when you get all in like that with a Nidus. It's very scary, and it was a tough start to the series, but I loved what we saw to Prince there in game number 2.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic build, and honestly, I'm looking a little bit more optimistic now at his odds of getting out of this group, because against Dark, probably arguably the strongest player here in Group F, or last group of the round of 20. That was a great performance, but Dark emerging victorious, 2-1, going to be going to the winner's match.
Up next, guys, Solar versus Cure. We'll go to that after this short break. Stick around.